Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And my name is Tumelo Mkwena. I'm a student counselor based in Pietermaritzburg. I would like to welcome each and every one of you, especially our distinguished keynote speaker, our Unisa alumni, and most importantly, I would like to welcome our student to our KZN Counseling and Career Development annual Young Professional Seminar. I think, student, the purpose of this, my colleague will give it to you, but the most important thing is that I think you need to feel welcome and relax and take some notes so that after this session, you will be motivated with careers that you are doing. I want to highlight that, student, we will have a Q&A session towards the end. You are more than welcome to post your questions under Q&A. And then once we come to the end, we will go through those questions, and then we will request our speakers to give you a response. Without wasting any time, I would like to call to my colleague who will do the purpose, Ms Zuziwe Mhlani. Over to you, Ms Mhlani.
Morning, everyone. My name is Zuziwe Mhlani. I'm a student counselor based in Durban campus. I'll close my camera just to increase the bandwidth and connectivity. Thank you, Program Director, for the opportunity. My name is Zuziwe, as I've indicated, and greetings to our KZN Regional Director, Dr. Mieza. I hope she has joined. Our Director, Counselling and Career Development, Dr. Mashiabata. KZN Deputy Director, Mr. Dubazana. Counselling and Career Development Head, Dr. Hendricks, who heads the unit in KZN. All Unisans and students in attendance. A special greeting to our keynote speaker, Ms Boipelo Soko, and all distinguished speakers. Thank you for honoring our invitation and gracing us with your presence in this seminar. I have been tasked to share the purpose of the Young Professionals Seminar, which is one of our long-standing annual career development initiative at the Directorate of Counselling and Career Development. Every year, we invite speakers from all walks of life to come and share their unique academic and professional journey. The rationale behind this event is that speakers who are Unisa alumni motivate, inspire, guide, support, and share knowledge and skills that assisted them as they navigate their career paths, which is strongly influenced by Unisa. The academic journey at any higher education institution, including Unisa, can be quite daunting, demanding, lonely, challenging, and somehow demotivating. I have no doubt that our guests as Unisa alumni have acquired unique qualities such as being independent, resilient, responsible, and caring citizens of South Africa. As you will witness in today's seminar, as they each share their remarkable journeys. Listen and learn from all our speakers who will share how they made it to the world of work so that you as current Unisa students can also learn the critical graduate and employability skills and knowledge and values as you prepare yourself to study further and or navigate your career paths and future career opportunities. It is important to note that some of these skills cut across all fields of study. I'm encouraging you, all of you students, to pay attention and be inspired and motivated in today's conversations as soon to be Unisa graduates. Sit back, listen up, and enjoy the seminar. I thank you. Over to you, Program Director.
Thank you, Ms. Mhlane. Our next speaker, it will be Mrs. Makanya, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Mrs. Makanya.
Thank you, Mr. Program Director, sir. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me pleasure to introduce our speaker for our Young Professionals Seminar 2024. She is the Recruitment Manager at Baker McKenzie South Africa office, one of the big law firms based in Sandton, Gauteng. She has a decade of experience in talent development. She has a passion for helping young leaders to develop their strengths and unleash their potential by bringing out the best version of themselves. She has honed her expertise in strategic human resources leadership and has made her mark in legal recruitment by inspiring leaders who can strategically navigate opportunities and overcome challenges with resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause as we welcome Ms Boipelo Soko to our virtual podium. Thank you, Boipelo.
Thank you, Ms. Makanya. It's a pleasure to be here today, and a special thank you to Unisa and to your Career Services Office for inviting me onto this platform today. Just by way of introduction, I am Boipelo, as Ms. Makanya said, and I am the Recruitment Manager at Baker McKenzie with over a decade of experience within the HR space. So really quite grateful to be here today and to be speaking to Unisa students. I myself have had my own journey at Unisa. It's a long story that we won't get into today, but you know, really, I just want to congratulate all of you on this seminar today for deciding that this is a seminar that is worth your time and that it is something that you will hope to get some fruitful information from, which will ultimately lead you in the direction that you are working towards. So in the discussion for today, I think I was asked to speak around charting your path to success and the changing world of work. And so I will share a couple of experiences in that regard, and very happy to take questions and comments onto the chat. This is, you know, the first session. So I'd like to think that the candidates on this call are still quite energized and have quite a bit to unpack before the rest of the day. So let me start off by kicking off with this. So in my day-to-day job, I encounter thousands of different types of people from different backgrounds, people with aspirations towards success, not just within the legal space, but within different sectors or different elements of corporate. And there are consistencies in the people that you see who succeed in certain organizations, corporate such as the one that I work in, whether it's a global entity like the one I am at, or local organizations like I've had in my previous working experience. There are, you know, there are competencies, there are skills, there are behavioral characteristics that we identify as, you know, markers for success. And those are irrespective of people's background. Those are irrespective of people's academic aspirations, what it is that they have studied, and ultimately what it is that they're looking for. And also even irrespective of their journey insofar as the recruitment process is concerned. So I will touch a little bit on those because I think that as young professionals, as graduates, you know, charting your way to success, these are some of the things that you should be taking a step back on and thinking about. Do I have these attributes? And if not, which ones do I want to then work on? Alternatively, which ones do I think that I need to sharpen a little bit on in order to reach the level of success and that you are looking for? And how I will do this, I will start off with a story. And a story based on very recent experience. So like I said, I encounter different types of candidates on a very regular basis. And I will tell you about two young ladies that I'd interviewed fairly recently for a position within a graduate program. So both of them are law students, but they really could have been studying anything. It didn't necessarily have to be law, but in this case, because they were applying for a graduate program, they are law students. We'll call the one candidate Lerato, candidate one Lerato, and we'll call candidate number two Nomsa. So candidate one Lerato, I will tell you my comments that I captured in her interview. And then I will pause for a bit and I will ask you for your thoughts. And then I'll go into candidate number two, Nomsa, again, her interview comments. And then again, I will ask you for your comments. Please, I do want this to be a little bit more engaging than just a lecture. So I know it's slightly different to the usual way in which one would engage on a lecture such as this or in a discussion such as this. But I want you to actually be thinking around some of the points that I'm raising in my topic this morning. So let's start with Lerato. So Lerato comes from originally did her degree at the University of Limpopo. So she studied in Limpopo. So obviously she comes from Limpopo. That's where she is from. Completed her degree. Struggled to secure articles. So articles is a period of the graduate program specifically for candidates that want to become admitted attorneys. So struggled to secure articles and then decided to move over to Johannesburg to continue on with her studies. So she then did an LLM, continued an LLM at a Joburg-based university. Thereafter, again, still struggled to secure articles, but as she was completing her LLM, then decided to go into retail. So then she worked retail for a little bit, for a couple of months. From there on, she then got the opportunity to go into a bank. At the bank, she was like a teller, so she worked the base level of the bank for a couple of months, and in the course of that had the opportunity to meet some people and was introduced to a graduate program at a separate bank, which she is now a part of. So she's a graduate in the legal department at one of the foremost banks in the country, right? And it's a very specialized field that she's in. They do very specialized line of work in the area that she's in this graduate program. The graduate program has rotations, so 3 rotations over the 2 years of her program. She also then has the opportunity to do development studies. By development studies, I mean self-development and professional development courses within that graduate program. So that is Lerato's journey just in terms of her academics and her work history. Talking to Lerato about, what motivates her. She referred quite a bit to the fact that coming from the background that she did, there weren't a lot of, in her case, young women who seemed to go into the legal route. And so she wanted to be an example that you can make it, you can come from the background that you do and succeed. And so she has done that, and that's part of what motivates her. Asked her a bit around what has she identified as her strengths and her areas of development, very standard interview questions. And she referred to her strengths as now having the working experience for her to get into articles, which is ultimately what she was interviewing with us for, right? So that graduate program. So, she thinks that having that working experience, that formal, formal working experience is what will distinguish her from her peers, because she feels that she is more work fit, able to engage with different type of people. When we spoke about what her areas of development are, she then referred to not necessarily having experience of practice in law, and that's something that she would like to then work on, and which is why she's obviously applying to get into a law firm so she can then ultimately complete her articles. We then spoke to her about what does she do outside of her studies, so outside of her work, so what are some of her other interests. She touched on normal things, I guess. She goes home, she likes to watch TV, she enjoys series, being with her friends on weekends. I guess like the normal kind of stuff that most people do. Those would be some of her interests. And then we left it at that, right? So I think maybe as a final question, kind of the why her, why, if there was only one role, why give it to her? And she touched on the fact that in her current working experience, she is getting a lot of technical expertise that the average candidate is unable to get, or even be exposed to, whether be it at varsity, even in the working world, because of the division in the bank and the graduate program that she's in. It's very nuanced, it's extremely specialized. And so that, she thinks, is the thing that distinguishes her insofar as her application from other candidates. And so I'm going to pause there, and I'd like to just get your comments in terms of what do you think of Lerato, just based on those interview comments that I have now shared with you. Is this someone, if you were a peer in her vacation program, if you were a recruiter, a potential employer, is this someone that you would go, yes, this is, give this person an opportunity to get onto the next steps? And I'm curious as to your reasons. So if you can very briefly just go into the chat and say, yay, I would progress Lerato onto the next step, or nay, I wouldn't, or no, I wouldn't. So yes, I would, no, I wouldn't. And I would like it if you could also then share a reason as to why you think yes or no. I'm going to pause there for a little bit. I did start early, so I've got a little bit of time there, Ms. Makanya. If you can just indulge me with the candidates on the chat, please. So I'll pause for a few seconds and see if we can get any comments, please. And also, I do encourage the team members from Unisa also to please engage, because this could be your student as well. Would you, just based on those comments those interview comments that I've shared, do you think that I should progress the candidate to the next stage or not? And this is not a trick question, guys. There's no wrong or right. I just want to hear your opinions.
Boipelo, thank you. This is Lisa here. I shared your question in the Q&A, so those of you on the call, please just respond to the question. We'll then read out any comments that are posted. So just click on the Q&A button in your Teams, and you would then be able to see the question and respond to that.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, so we're seeing some comments here. I see one from Untadile, who notes that Lerato has the experience. However, she may not be memorable because of her standard responses behind the reasoning for the role in her career. I do think what she did right, though, was being proactive despite not initially getting articles. Thank you for that, Untadile. Nonhlanhla, you shared, I would think not. I think the fact that she doesn't really have any extra activities outside of her work is kind of a little disappointing. It's important that we develop ourselves outside of work. Okay, thank you both for those comments. Okay, so I'm not going to respond to those comments yet. Let me now go into the story of Nomsa. Nomsa also applying for the same position. Nomsa's background, interestingly, and I interviewed both these candidates on the same day. They were probably an hour or 2 hours apart. Nomsa's background, Nomsa's originally from the Eastern Cape. So she's from a small village in the Eastern Cape. From the village that she comes from, most people don't make it over to matric. And so for her, her biggest achievement was the fact that she not only completed her matric, but that she completed her matric as the best within her municipality and also within the larger region. It helped her secure a bursary to then study. Also, she had then decided to study in Joburg. She had done some research while she was in high school in terms of which university she wanted to study at and what the requirements were. And so she had worked towards that during the course of her high school. And obviously, with now getting this bursary, she was able to move over to Joburg and study on this and study at the side. Nomsa is still in varsity. In fact, she is in her penultimate year, so she will finish her degree next year. During the course of her studies, she has continued to keep up with her grades. As for her extracurricular activities, she's decided to tutor first years to help them integrate into their first year. And her reasoning behind that was because she felt that many a times students are coming from all types of different backgrounds and are nervous about the social issues that make integrating into varsity quite difficult. And so she wanted to be somebody that can help other first years tackle the same kind of issues that she knows that she had as a first year, moving from one province over into another, and in fact even moving from a small village into the fast-paced city of Joburg. She also tutors at a high school in Soweto, and when I asked her how she found out about that high school in particular, she touched on the fact that that was an extracurricular that was made available at her university. And so they then teach, or they tutor matriculants and grade 11 students. But she had then decided to take an extra step by tutoring at the primary school as well, because she felt that, or she reasoned that many primary school students struggle with reading and writing, and those are then issues that affect them all the way into high school. So she wanted to start making the change earlier in their studies, and so she starts engaging with them at primary school level. Why she has no formal working experience like Lerato does. So what else she thinks she has as her areas for development, or at least her strengths. Felt that her strengths were her interpersonal skills, her drive for success, so her commitment to her studies and her commitment to making whatever impact that she can. Her areas of development, very clearly also, like Lerato mentioned, not having a practical working experience, so she never participated in a vacation program or anything similar to that. And so she wants to try to cover that gap so that she can start preparing for it ahead of her eventually, starting to work formally. What else? Nomsa also then touched on what motivates her is a need to succeed. Like Lerato, she also wants to be an example to young people from her community. And then larger than that, she also wants to kind of show what kind of impact law can have in people's careers and people's lives. And in this specific case, commercial law, in terms of the impact it can have in terms of changing society and changing, how people engage. So going to pause there, and then would like your comments and your thoughts on Nomsa as opposed to Lerato. So just Nomsa on her own, not necessarily Nomsa in relation to Lerato. I see there already are some comments, so I'm just going to start reading some of them. This was previously about Lerato. Yes, Lerato has some level of experience, which counts as any exposure to an industry is valuable. I guess this is a yes also for Lerato from the previous question. The diverse experience can be a significant advantage for a candidate applying for a graduate program, even if their academic background is different from the field that they are applying to. Thank you, Sean. I think this is not necessarily about Lerato or Nomsa specifically, but see there's a comment about wanting to hear about people who are interviewed and comparing them against the pool of candidates. Okay. Okay, Nantlantla, on Nomsa, you say she's very memorable. Regardless of her not having any experience in the field, she's also very active in the community, which is a great characteristic. I would give her a shot. Okay. So just my comments on how we would then tackle either one or even both of these candidates. Okay, just one last comment from Untatile. What sets Nomsa apart is not only her good grades in her studies, but also that she managed to be part of other activities outside of her school. Okay, Untatile, you definitely have a bias towards people who do activities outside of their studies. And that's very clear, right? So when it comes to recruitment and when it comes to consideration of candidates, these are some of the things that a recruiter or a manager really has to look at. We pay attention to the first part is your CV. So your CV is the thing that gets you through the door because your CV says you have met the requirements as advertised for whatever role, whether it's a graduate role, it's an experienced role, it's a retail role, etc. Right. So assuming you're studying the right course, you have interest outside of your studies which are demonstrated on your CV or not, or actually if you were to look at both Nomsa and Lerato, they have different types of experiences out on their CV which still got them through into that first round, right? Which is that interview. Which means that they then ticked the basic boxes. And the basic boxes in this case was the degree, or at least working towards completing the degree within a specific time frame. The degree that is relevant to the graduate program that they were applying for. And then an ability to demonstrate that they have skill sets that will be necessary for them in practice. However, those skill sets, and I just want to make this clear, because we're talking about graduate program, it's very different from if we're talking about experience hire. Because in experience hire, your skill set can be quite specific to the role. But because the example I gave here was about graduates, the graduate scope is much wider. You're able to pick at least 3 out of maybe 5 characteristics or skills that you were looking for, right? Because graduates, you are hiring actually for potential, not so much competency. And this is what you then see with candidates like Nomsa and Lerato. And this is what your recruiters are going to be looking for when they look at your applications. And it's something that you need to be mindful of when you start thinking about where it is that you're applying to, which roles you're applying for, and how you then structure that cover letter. And I mean, your CV will remain standard, but you may decide to restructure your cover letter according to where it is that you're applying to, right? So Nomsa and Lerato. Nomsa was good because of her working experience. Somebody made a comment around the diversity of her working experience, even though not all of it was necessarily within the specific sector. That is something that you want to see within candidates, that they are going to look at different ways of developing skills. That they are not going to necessarily be narrow-minded about, if I only have this experience, then this is the only way that I grow. No. So in Lerato's case, the fact that she had retail, she should immediately be able to speak to the fact that she has customer service skills. She knows how to engage with difficult customers. She knows how to engage with clients from her banking experience that don't even always necessarily understand what it is that you are explaining to them, but you need to explain it to them in a way that is relatable, in a way that they can then walk away and be happy with the service that you have provided, right? Being able to work with a diverse group of people, because the difference between when you are at varsity and you're doing extracurricular activities, in an extracurricular activity, most people that are involved in that activity basically have the same kind of motivation. They want to make an impact. They want to help. They want to help high school students, like, like in NOMSA's example. But in an example like Lerato's, if I'm working at the bank, I have a very different reason for why I'm working in the bank, in the same way as if I'm working retail, right? So I can be working retail because I need the extra money. I need the extra, I've got the extra time. And even within that need for money, you have different factors for why you need that money. So a person like Lerato might not necessarily have needed the money, for example, to pay for her studies, but she may have needed it to pay for rent, right? Because now she's completed with her studies. Whereas if Nomsa had worked retail in the course of her studies, it would have been completely different as to why, because she's got a bursary through the university, so she doesn't necessarily need that. So these are some of the things that you then start to look at and you go, does this candidate understand or have a sense of why they are doing the things that they are doing? And in the things that they are doing, do they also have a sense of what it is that they are learning and what is then going to become part of their value add into an organization? And in the organization that they're applying to, have you done your research to understand why this is potentially important in the area that you're going into? So I'm going to skip on ahead. If you then looked at NOMSA's experience is what you'd call a traditional university student, right? A traditional university student in that she studies, she does extracurricular activities / community work, and all she sees is that. However, the difference between NOMSA and Lerato is NOMSA's driver, right? What drives NOMSA? Her reason for wanting to succeed is very different from Lerato's. Lerato struggled to articulate it. Lerato couldn't articulate why it is that she wants to be a lawyer outside of I want to be an example, because you're already an example in the fact that you completed your matric. You're already an example in the fact that you completed your degree, you completed your LLM, that you're even working at a really, great bank in a graduate program. You're already an example. What Lerato needs to be able to demonstrate is what that means for her in terms of moving forward. Because once she then gets into this graduate program, which will be different from her current one, she'll have a different set of challenges that she has to overcome. She'll have different people that she's working with. She'll have a different line of work. She's effectively starting from scratch, right? And if you then look at a NOMSA is constantly looking for an opportunity for growth, but she is also intentional about what that growth looks like, right? So NOMSA goes, I want to be this type of lawyer. What does that look like? What does that type of lawyer do? I don't know. And so I'm going to try to expose myself to those people so that I can then see what it is that they do, and then from there figure out, okay, this is what I then need to do currently in the course of my studies to get me there. Those are the types of characteristics that you ordinarily see in the candidates that succeed, not just in their recruitment process, but also once they actually have started in the world of work. Because what it means is that they are constantly adapting. They are reading the cues, right? They're going, okay, so where do I have a gap? And what kind of, what's this level of, what is the level of the gap in relation to where I am trying to get to? And if where I'm trying to get to, is it aligned to the environments that I am in, right? So I can still have my interests and want to make this impact in this world and help people with bigger social issues. But for me to make that impact, I need to understand what the issues are. Hence, her even teaching at primary school, that's not something that you would ordinarily pick up in most people that do voluntary work. It's, you kind of do I've joined this organization, this is what we do, but what is the bigger purpose, right? So you're helping matriculants and grade 11 students to make it into varsity. But if your grade 11s and matriculants are struggling with reading and writing, then you need to take a step back and go, let's help the younger guys so that by the time they get to matric in grade 11, they have better literacy rates, but B, they also now have been exposed to different types of people who have come back, given back to their community, so have paid it forward, but have also inspired them to see that there are different opportunities, different roles, different types of work in which one can aspire to, right? So for Nomsa, she really did stand out from Lerato for that reason. And Lerato, it's not that Lerato was wrong. It's just that Lerato then in that interview, on that interview day, Lerato then is not the strongest candidate, right? And so when you then ultimately have to make a call in who's going to proceed, you go, both candidates are good candidates, but one has demonstrated herself to be stronger for these reasons. And so this candidate will then advance into the next stage of our interview process, whilst the other one will have to go back and do a little bit of self-work to understand what it is that they are looking for, and how does that how does that relate to the opportunity we offer? Because once you get into work, you need to be not just resilient, which Lerato, by the way, did demonstrate in her ability to look for different types of roles, but you need to be able to be accountable for your own learning and development. You need to be, you basically just looking out for opportunities for you to thrive, really. So I think when I started this discussion, I spoke about you're charting your path to success. What I want to almost close with is the goal, though, in your path to success isn't just success for success's sake. It's actually for you to thrive. But you then need to be able to take that step back and think about what is it that makes that you are wanting to work towards. What does that look like? What is it that you bring to the table that helps you get there? What is it that you are missing that you need to be able to pack or unpack? And then further, what does then that success then look like for you? Because from there, you are able to thrive, not just on someone else's definition, but on your own definition of this is what success looks like for me. What I just want to close off also with is be mindful of whether you are then driven by the need to succeed versus the fear of failure, because those are very different motivations. And they manifest in different ways within not just your interview process, but ultimately in how you show up in your work. The person who is driven by fear to failure can become quite pessimistic in how they engage, because then you will hear a candidate saying something like, I'm always looking for constructive feedback, but you don't necessarily understand what you are doing with that feedback. And again, it's because you don't understand what it is that you are working towards. You have a goal, but you're not making it clearer for yourself. And so when you know that the goal is this type of success, and this is what success looks like for me, then you can work towards thriving, or rather getting there and eventually thriving, because you will ultimately achieve it. I'm going to pause here and see if there are any comments or questions before I close off. And I think in those comments and questions, what I'm really asking is if looking at the two stories, or the two experiences of the two candidates, does it make sense why we would have progressed one candidate versus the other? Or if there's any questions around that, because I'm sure for some of you, that is relatable, and even in how you present yourself in your recruitment process, in your elevator pitches, and how you network and engage with people, and how you explain what it is that you want to do with your career. Thank you, Lisa. That's a beautiful way of phrasing it. How are you intentionally developing your career? What is driving you? But does the analogy of the two girls, does that make sense? Or the two candidates, does that make sense in relation to being intentional about your career and charting your path? Okay. I didn't see any comments or questions, but I do just want to wish everyone everything of the best. I think that Unisa candidates, maybe this is just a tip perhaps, as a tip from me, Unisa candidates stand out to me, or the candidates from Unisa that stand out to me are the ones that are able to articulate why you have studied via Unisa, and what is it that you think distinguishes you from a student that is at any other varsity who doesn't necessarily have who has a different set of support structures and different university experience for them to ultimately achieve similar degrees to the ones that you are all working towards. So yeah, I think for me, every time I speak to a Unisa student who sits in the room and says, I'm from Unisa, and just like any other varsity student, I'm going to have my degree, and this is what it means to me. And the fact that I get to manage my time and manage it in a way that allows me to integrate all my different interests and my priorities and still achieve what it is that I'm working towards, that candidate honestly stands out for me, because there's a level of determination and accountability that is actually quite different from a candidate who knows that they have to attend a lecture, and if they don't attend this lecture, then they might miss out on whatever type of information that allows them to do well in an exam, or they'll have a second opportunity to write an exam because some universities do that. So it's the fact that you recognize that your journey is different, but that difference is really part of your value add. So for those of you that sometimes question whether we're even looking at Unisa students, 100% we are. But we want you to show us, to tell us, like, this is what I bring to the table, and for you to be confident about that. That confidence ultimately is the key. And with that, thank you so much, Ms. Makanya. To all of you Unisa students, yes, I think it was Untatilo, somebody just asked a question. Oh, sorry, Masesi. Absolutely available. You can find me on LinkedIn as Boipelo Soko, so SOKO. Reach out if you want to touch base. Wish you everything of the best. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the seminar. I think there'll be really amazing pearls of wisdom coming, especially from the alumni body. And with that, I close off. Thank you very much, Ms. Makanya.
Thank you, Ms. Soko. Student, can we give a round of applause to Ms. Soko? And we'll call upon Dr. Hendricks to appreciate the keynote speaker. Over to you, Dr. Hendricks.
Morning, everyone. All right, thank you, Mr. McQueen, once again. As the program director introduced me, my name is Sharifa Hendricks, and I'm the manager of the Counselling Career Development Unit here in KZN. On behalf of CCD and the KZN region, I want to express our gratitude to our first speaker, Ms. Boipelo Soko. Boipelo, you have enlightened us with your insights today. You even challenged us to think beyond the ordinary. You also want us to strive for excellence and envision a future, where we can all make a meaningful impact. So I want to thank you for enlightening us with your knowledge about the recruitment field and creating awareness of the profile of an ideal candidate and what you would look for in a candidate. I think that was very, very helpful. As young professionals, Unisa students, I think, often find themselves at a crossroads, looking for direction, looking for guidance. So the tips you shared were invaluable. I think your words today have also provided the much needed clarity and encouragement that our students need. You've reminded us that with determination and hard work and a positive mindset, they can overcome any obstacle and achieve their dreams. So thank you for gracing us with your presence and for sharing the career journeys of the young students you recruited. I hope our students have been inspired by the stories of Nomsa and Lerato. Students, let us carry forward some of the lessons learned here today about what recruiters are looking for. Let's learn from them. Let's apply them in our own career journeys, keeping in mind those two candidates that were shared with you, what they did right and what they would have done differently. Ms. Masuku, once again, we are very grateful for your generosity of time and especially going through some of the practical examples of your work in the recruitment field. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hendricks. I will call upon our administrative intern, Ms. Sanelisiwe Tusi. Ms. Sanelisiwe Tusi, if you can open up your camera for a few seconds, and then she will actually do a poem for us. Over to you, Ms. Tusi.
Thank you, Mr. Mokwena. I am Sanelisiwe Tusi, admin intern at TIA DCC in Durban. I'll be doing a poem by Marianne Williamson. It's called Our Deepest Fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that most threatens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not solve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make a manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we elaborate our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tusi. Our TCGP, who will introduce our alumni speaker, Mr. Tshepo Mothudi. Can you please open your camera and do the introduction? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mokwena. Greetings to our guests, our colleagues and students. My name is Inga Chekela. I am a trainee career guidance here at Unisa. My role for today is to introduce our first alumni speaker, Mr. Tshepo Mothudi. Mr. TK Mothudi is a distinguished professional serving as a Chief Risk Officer at the Central University of Technology in the Free State, a dynamic institution committed to fostering quality social and technological innovations for socio-economic development in Central region of South Africa. He holds a bachelor degree in accounting sciences and a BCom law, which are completed by postgraduate qualifications in forensic auditing and another risk management. His proficiency extends to certifications in various domains, including financial regulations, health and safety, and project management. He also holds the esteemed title of a Certified Ethics Officer with the Ethics Institute. Mr. Mothudi is currently pursuing a Master of Philosophy in Accounting Sciences degree with a specialized research focus on combined assurance, risk management, and governance. At Unisa, he has served as a Deputy President of the National Student Representative Council of Unisa, and he had the honor of being part of the delegation of representatives to Mumbai, India, on a Gandhi-inspired knowledge and cultural exchange program, the first international expedition of its nature embarked on at Unisa. He has facilitated the session on the MDG of developing global partnerships for development at the first Youth MDG Summit in South Africa and led the Unisa delegations to the International Enactors World Cup competition in Beijing, China. Mr. Mothudi, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Maringa, for the introduction. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the hosts, and special thank you to Mdakane. As introduced, I am Tshepo Mothudi, and I'd just like to flight the presentation for today. Okay, thank you so much. All right. So the title of my presentation today is on the pursuit of excellence. As I share my journey, I'd like to just touch on certain topics that relate to the pursuit of excellence as part of me making a case for competence and how that will be an important part in your journey as a student, a graduate, and someone who's pursuing a different career or even business. So the topic will include touching on purpose, on learning, on relationships, and then just finishing off on excellence. So the introduction that was made earlier by Me Inga covers all my qualifications as well as some of the roles I've played in society and in Unisa in particular. And I'd just like to start off by mentioning that it is a mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. I think what I'm sharing there is that as we share our experiences as alumni, as we contribute to these sessions and engagements, you might not necessarily agree with everything, but take what you can that will add value in your life. And with that, I'd like just to importantly mention that as students, you're engaged in a very important process. I think the desire for education and being a better individual reflects quite well on you, on your commitment to making a better society for us all and those around you. And it is known that it's a society with an educated populace that is able to then be a catalyst for socioeconomic development and transformation of those societies. And it's those leaders that can drive change. So continue in your drive and in your journey for education, and we'll be here on your path to just remind you of certain things, or at least contribute our experiences so that we can then add value to your journey as well as you try and make a difference in your lives. So the first part on purpose. So because I am effectively one of the few in my time to choose Unisa as a preferred choice of school. So it wasn't a second preference or the last option. I found that the teaching model and the learning model fit my personality as a whole. Being self-aware that historically the traditional school model didn't work for me, I then chose Unisa as my university of choice. So as part of your purpose, it's very important to have deep self-knowledge, to say, this works for me, this doesn't work for me, and to take your journey in the direction of what actually works. The second aspect in identifying your purpose, perhaps, is looking at what exactly are you passionate about. So the things that excite you do give you an indication of this may be where your purpose actually lies. And then pursuit speaks to, were you looking for those things that drive you in order to then identify your purpose as an individual? When I started out, I'd wanted to be a chartered accountant. I found that I had a passion for accounting. And as my journey continued in life and as a student, I think it then came to mind that perhaps this wasn't the most ideal career choice for me. And I took different decisions related to that. So just to share, so with Unisa, as I was doing my undergrad, we got, due to, I think, events and seminars that were facilitated by career development, and Mdakane in particular, I was then signed to one of the audit firms already as a student doing my last year. And I found myself on a few clients doing audits. This helped me identify that this isn't exactly the life I wanted to live, because at the time I was involved in what Ms Soko earlier spoke to, extracurricular activities. So I was involved in a lot of student organizations, things that made a difference in society. And I felt that I could contribute more in that space than I could as an auditor. So I then took a different direction in my career after I graduated to then, instead of doing the auditing and accounting stream, I then started being in project management, where I was a community engagement coordinator, and we did projects that were contributing to the development of communities. So this was what I felt was my purpose at the time. And I think a key indicator when you're trying to find purpose, you're building your career, we look at what exactly are you deeply passionate about? And there needs to be a cross-section between these three elements as to what you're deeply passionate about and what you believe you could be the best in the world at, or the best in your immediate community or immediate environment, as well as what drives your economic engine. For this, I mean, what activity earns you the most? I think this applies both to business and employees. But what I found in actual fact was that as an employee, I was passionate about the projects that we were doing, and with a lot of, because of Unisa and how it was positioned at the time as an employee at Unisa, we could be the best at community engagement, because as a university, we could apply our knowledge in communities to make them better, because even our students were in those communities. And it was a big economic driver, because as an individual, I was earning a living from it. I think with time, then came the point where I had to make a shift. For this, I mean, while one was engaged in something that they believed in, that they were passionate about, you then realize as you get older that perhaps because it wasn't a career and it was something that I chose, it may be time to move into a more traditional career stream. But again, knowing who I am and looking within myself, I had to then identify something that was not, as I earlier said, auditing per se, but still fit with my passion for leadership and governance and development. And that is when I made the shift to risk management, to the point that I then got appointed at the Central University of Technology. And I was able to incorporate a lot of the things that I'd learned in my past to then ensure that in my new role, in my new career stream, we could then start implementing those. So as you look for your purpose, having the three paradigms of your identity, inspiration, and inertia in this context, knowing who you are, and having your mental state as a disciplined individual to try and pursue your career in the right way, being inspired by what you do, this speaks to the heart and your emotional state and keeps you dedicated to achieving your dreams. And then inertia, this is where you get into the physical action and the diligence of implementing what you need to do. And I think a good quote for this is that whatever your hands find to do, you should do it with all your might. And to that extent, it's very important that as you pursue a career, finding something that you're passionate about, you then make sure that you put all of your might in it, and so that you can achieve as best as you can. So the next element for our journey into mastery and excellence comes the learning and practice element. So as students, we pursue knowledge and we study, but there are other forms of learning moving beyond just your chosen career. This is where you then engage in study of extraordinary fields and self-development, where you pursue opportunities for self-development and empowerment. Extracurricular activities and being involved in student organizations, even community organizations, is also part of that learning process, where you put into practice some of the things you learned and contribute practically to your society. The next element is relationship management. I know I wouldn't be where I am today without those relationships, and I actually wouldn't be making this presentation without those relationships that we've cultivated over time. Coincidentally, Mama Kanya, I'm actually filling in somewhat for my wife, who'd be presenting on her field, who's someone I also met as a student. And these are mutually beneficial relationships where we can contribute to one another, add value, and sometimes find love in the process. But cultivating those relationships, making sure that the people around you are people you contribute to and those who add value to you. As I mentioned earlier, Mama Kanya was instrumental in guiding us not only in our careers but also in our life's journey. And so having those individuals in your lives is very important. As you enter the work environment, communication becomes a key tool. You need to know that there are different communication styles, and you need to adapt accordingly so that you can maintain relationships in the workplace, but also beyond that, you can also leverage on those relationships in your next part of your journey. Mentorship is also important. You can have mentors that are near you, that you have direct relationships with, and you can adopt a mentor online that is an individual that contributes to you gaining knowledge, but do approach individuals that you are at least inspired by, so that you can then gain some wisdom and advice from them as you pursue your journey. I think one of the key things is that whenever you start in a work environment, identifying that individual and actually approaching them could actually help you move up in the ranks of a company that you may be in. All right, so we get to somewhat the last phase of our discussion. This is the model that we applied when we pursued our journey. And this is something that you can develop your own models, but this is something that I found has worked not only for me in my personal life, but also in my career. And now, as I'm pursuing different businesses on the side, it's something that I use as well. So looking into identifying what you want to be, how you want your life structured, and envisioning a future for yourself that you're going to pursue. Second to that is actually developing a strategy on how you're going to pursue that. So having a plan as to how you're going to get there. We might not always get there in the time we expect, but sometimes you aim for the moon and you fall on the stars, which is quite poignant in times like this. The next important thing is when you already have in your mind exactly where you want to go and you've written it down into some form of plan, having a system in place as to what sort of practices you'll implement to gain that, that will definitely assist you in achieving your goals, because that's a methodological approach that you take and not just you having wishes and desires, but then getting into the practical of it and it gets you closer to it. Socialization, having a program of action, this is where you diligently implement that program and you integrate it into all the elements of your life. So in my closing remarks, just to give some practical advice and as I share part of my journey as well, is you need to persevere. Failure is a crucial part of the learning process. You need to embrace it. You need to learn from it. I did not complete my degree in record time. It took me quite a long time. I think my first year I did it over 2 years because of the struggles at the time. I think adjusting to now having no one in front of you teaching you, to you having to be part of that learning process and leading it by yourself. That was quite difficult for me, adjusting to financial struggles, difficulties at home, and moving beyond that. I think you build from those failures. I think after graduating, I also had some difficulties with my postgraduate, but over time, I think all those failures led to me learning even more and pursuing my goals with much more diligence over the years. Patience is important. Success takes time. So you need to be persistent and patient as you persevere during challenging times. There used to be a time I think I felt that I was 5 years behind my peers. And by the time I eventually pursued my goals and aspirations, I think I caught up with my peers and in some respects surpassed them. So being patient also is important. Adapting to a changing environment, I'm hoping that as you continue in your learning journey, you'll identify that artificial intelligence is part of our society now, to the extent that even in the working environment, while your job might not be replaced by AI, somebody using AI could replace you. So it's important that you adapt as changes come, where you stay curious, open to new ideas, and adopting technologies that can assist you to get further. I think in the environment that I'm in as a risk practitioner, there's a lot of data that you have to deal with and a changing environment constantly, to the extent that we normally leverage on technology to make sure that we are one step ahead in terms of predictive models, but more so as well to make our jobs easier so that we can focus on strategic things. Lastly, growth, where you embrace the challenges as opportunities to learn and where you view feedback and criticism as information for your improvement. So whenever you are struggling with something or whenever you find challenges that are in place, those are opportunities for growth. And also find areas where you can develop yourself and grow so that you can continually improve on your skills, on your communication, on your presentation, to the extent that you can leverage on that and take opportunities that come from that. Right. So reflections from our engagement today. As I was sharing my journey, I spoke to purpose, identity, where you find your passion and you pursue it. But at times you might find your passion, but have to make adjustments in life because of how society is structured and how life is. And you can find new passions and new pursuits that could take you to the next level in your career and in your business life. Development, focus on your personal development and cultivating relationships with others that can contribute to your growth. And lastly, pursuing excellence as part of your effortless execution and contribution to development and those around you. My closing remarks: only a life spent in the service of others is worth living. And there I'm paraphrasing Albert Einstein's quote. So I wish you all the best in your journey as students, as future alumni, and I hope that you can reach out and we can contribute to each other's development as we go on. I thank you, Program Director. I think we can take any questions that may arise. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mothudi, for a powerful presentation. I think the suggestion was that the questions will be taken towards the end, but I see that students, they've already started posting their questions on the Q&A. But we will come back to our question and answer session. Before we move on, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our Deputy Director from the region, Mr. Dubazana. I've noted that you actually joined the session. Thank you very much for honoring our invite. While we're still trying to connect Mr. Dubazana, we will move forward. We'll call to our own intern, our own trainee career guidance practitioner, Ms. Sanelisiwe Dunge. Ms. Sanelisiwe Dunge is actually our intern here at Unisa KZN, Career and Counselling Development Unit. Ms. Sanelisiwe Dunge, are you ready? If you take the platform while we're still trying to connect Mr. Dubazana. Over to you, Ms. Dunge.
Thank you, Mr. Mokwena. Good morning, colleagues, guests, and students. I am Sanelisiwe Dunge, a trainee career guidance practitioner within the Counselling Career Development Unit in Unisa. I will be sharing my journey on becoming a trainee career guidance practitioner today. My journey began while working as a call center advisor. And to be quite honest, I was really demotivated and had no plan. This is when I actually realized how much I really loved helping others, and working in a call center really made me revisit my dream of becoming a psychologist. I always had a deep interest in understanding human behavior and helping others in navigating their life challenges. So helping others for me was always a thing. This led me to pursue a degree in Bachelor of Arts in Health Science and Social Science with a specialization in applied psychology in professional context with Unisa. I then completed my honors degree last year in psychology. This was a milestone that not only just closed a chapter, but I think it opened a new one filled with possibilities. So before I go on with my speech today, I do want to emphasize or stress the importance of research, because research will shape your career path. It goes beyond understanding job requirements. It's about aligning your career with your passions, your values, and your long-term goals. Research helps you uncover different pathways and different opportunities within your chosen field. You might be wondering, why am I speaking about research? This is because when I was choosing what to study, I was really confused. I didn't really know if I wanted to become a clinical or an industrial psychologist. So instead, I just applied for a general psychology degree, so I can do more research about the different psychology jobs and different descriptions, so that I will be able to actually make an informative decision on what I want to become. But also, thorough research led me to discovering an internship at the Unisa's counseling unit, a chance to contribute meaningfully to an institution dedicated to education and empowerment really resonated deeply with me. I knew right there and then that this opportunity was a chance to not only gain valuable experience, but to also contribute meaningfully to the lives of others. So preparation was key for me. By having my documents and motivational letter ready during my studies, I was able to smoothly navigate the application process. So when I received an invitation for the interview, I stopped everything I was doing and focused on preparing for the most important day of my life. Preparing for this interview was exciting, but I was nervous as I didn't know what to expect from the interview. So to be confident on the day of the interview, I had to carefully review the internship position description. I made sure to understand the responsibilities or skills that were required for the internship program. But just to seal off my preparation for the interview, I also practiced responding to common questions such as, why am I passionate about psychology? Why am I the best candidate for the program? And how do I handle challenging situations? When I received the news of my selection for the internship, it was a moment of immense joy and validation, a testament to the power of hard work and dedications. So you might be asking yourselves, what are the responsibilities of a trainee career guidance practitioner? As a trainee career guidance practitioner, our mission is very clear. It's just to motivate or empower students in making informed decisions about their careers and education. We do this by conducting assessments of student skills, interests, values, and then we provide a personalized guidance and resources to help them explore various career options. One of the key aspects of our role is conducting one-on-one career counseling sessions with students. During these sessions, we listen actively to the students' concerns, aspirations, and challenges by creating a supportive and non-judgmental environment. We help students clarify their career goals and develop action plans to actually achieve these goals. We also facilitate workshops on essential skills like time management and study techniques. So basically, we equip students with the tools they need to succeed. So continuous learning is crucial in our role. Staying updated on industry trends and emerging careers ensures we provide relevant information and support to students on their educational journeys. Before I close off my speech, I do want to urge each of you to embrace your journey with courage and determination. Remember that every challenge is an opportunity for growth, and every step forward, no matter how small, it will bring you closer to your dream. And also remember that your journey is unique, and every experience will definitely shape you into the professional you aspire to be. As you pursue your excellence in your chosen paths, you need to cultivate empathy and genuine desire to make a positive impact. Even in moments of uncertainty, you need to believe in your potential and have faith that your hard work will pay off someday. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanelisiwe, for an inspirational story, sharing your journey with us. I will call upon Ms. Nokubonga Shange to introduce our next speaker.
Good morning, guests, colleagues, and students. My name is Nokubonga Shange. I'm a trainee career guidance practitioner. Today, I'm going to be introducing Mr. Mbongiseni Mdakane. Mr. Mbongiseni Mdakane, a lecturer at the Department of Psychology at Unisa. Mr. Mdakane is a lecturer and a scholar of note, teaching in the Department of Psychology at Unisa. He is currently teaching the following modules: developmental psychology and community psychology. He also offers ethical education workshops and teach qualitative methodologies. His academic interest within the field of community psychology, ODAL research, the psychology of incarceration, research ethics, intercultural and intergroup relations in post-apartheid South Africa. His field of specializations includes psychology of incarceration, ODAL research, qualitative methodologies, and phenomenological research principles of ethics research. Over to you, Mr. Mdakane.
Thank you so much. Good morning, colleagues, program director, students, and everyone else who was able to attend today's session. Program director, may I kindly, with your permission, share my presentation? Good morning, colleagues. As I was introduced, my name is Mbongiseni Mdakane, a senior lecturer from the Department of Psychology at Unisa. And today I have the pleasure to share with you my journey as a Unisa alumni, beginning from all the way back in 2005. I was asked to present at today's seminar. I'm not quite sure as to the reason why, but lately I happen to often stumble across people who, when they either meet me or read my story, and they find my story to be inspiring. So I'm not quite sure whether what I will present to you today will also inspire you as well, but I'm hoping that it is something that you will take out of this presentation. So here we go. Alrighty. So my slides are not moving. Okay, there we go. Okay, so for today's presentation, I'm going to briefly talk to you about my experience as a first-year Unisa student, what transpired there, and this was way back in 2005, as I had indicated. But I will also, in the process, speak to you about the challenges that I've encountered, but how it is, how it came about that I emerged unfazed through the process. It is also quite imperative that I also speak to you about the world of work, in terms of how was I able to enter the world of work, because I believe that I had encountered a lot of challenges, but as indicated, I came out unfazed and having to defy all the odds that were on my path. And then also imperative again is also to speak to you about my first job search, as Umama Kanya asked me to do. And in this presentation, I'm hoping that you will see that my journey was actually organic, kind of like a step ladder like process, in terms of a ripple effect, one thing leading to the next. And then in terms of my work, the work that I do at the moment, I think it was, or it is actually important that I speak to you about Unisa's key performance areas, to just to inform you what we lecturers get on about at Unisa. When we say that we are lecturing, what is it that we exactly do? And then during this presentation, as I do that, I will also share with you some of my experiences in terms of what I wish I knew before embarking on my career journey. I'm hoping that in doing so, I'll also be able to, elucidate the river of life. And this is an analogy that I often use to say that the river of life, takes us in different directions where we don't even expect us to go, but this is life. In so doing, I will also share with you the values that Unisa has bestowed upon me as Mbongiseni Mdakane, and what is it that I'm giving back in terms of nurturing and the development of scholarship. This will lead towards the conclusion of my today's presentation, which will be towards the attainment of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. So my journey with Unisa started in 2005. And it started at Baviaanspoort Correctional Center. I laugh sometimes when I speak about this, because often people immediately think that perhaps I started studying with Unisa while being a correctional officer, but no, I wasn't a correctional officer. I was actually on the other side of the fence. I was an offender when I started studying with Unisa. This was in 2005 at Baviaanspoort Correctional Center. I begin to, or rather say, chose to open my presentation with the famous words of Lao Tzu, who said that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. It indeed was a journey of 1,000 miles from 2005 when I started at Unisa for my first qualification right up until 2022 when I graduated for my PhD. I will tell you shortly about the picture that you see there, but those are my colleagues. And Lisa, I hope you can see they're sitting down there, the brown shoes. That's Harold Ngwane, Dr. Harold Ngwane, one of our very own at the Career Counselling Directorate. And then, so my journey, as I indicated, started in 2005 at Pavian Sport Correctional Center, where I was serving a 22-year sentence. And when you are incarcerated or on the other side of the wall, you know, it gets tiring to watch paint dry. Because your mental faculties deteriorate in a way when you serve a sentence and you do not do anything in terms of your development. You need to ensure that you are able to read and you are able to write. And if you do not read and write, believe me not, you somehow lose the ability to read. You lose the ability to even speak, so or even converse or articulate yourself in English. So I had to do something about my life, and I started then with my higher diploma in ABET, and that was in 2005, completed it in 2007. But it wasn't my intention to go all the way, but I was actually laughing to myself when I was preparing this presentation, because I was thinking of the old ad what's this, chicken licking, that's when the feeling has got you, when it has beat you, you can't seem to get away from it. So it was the same thing. I was beaten by education, and I couldn't stop. From my first diploma, I went into my bachelor's, and as you can see there, 2012 to 2013, I continued with my honors after completing my first bachelor's. And then in 2014, I registered for my master's, completed in 2016, and I couldn't stop. I just couldn't stop. After completing my master's in 2016, 2017, I enrolled for my PhD, completed it in 2022. But it's important to indicate that during my incarceration, I also underwent a very rigorous and intense rehabilitation program. I just did not just sit passively during my incarceration. I made sure that I developed myself. So I became a peer psychological counselor with the facilitation of the psychologists and the social workers in the centers that I were at Pavian Sport. I can also count your Modabi. And during this time, I also, because I had obtained my, my higher diploma in 2007, also meant that I could also start teaching, you know. And then I started teaching, and I taught at different I taught different learning areas at different levels, including your grade 12, your grade 10, mathematics, English, and so on and so forth, you know, just to ensure that I keep abreast of the knowledge. And then I was released in 2010, shortly after the World Cup. I think I was released October in 2010. And then after that, obviously you realize that you need to continue and the way you left off. And I had to seek employment with my first incomplete qualification. It was like kind of hard. You know, I had a teaching diploma, but my undergrad degree wasn't complete yet. So it was kind of a challenge, you know, to seek and find employment at the time. But what was more challenging for me was my age, because I was incarcerated at the age of 26, serving a 10-year sentence. So it implies that when I was released, I was around 36 years old. So you are 36 and you do not have employment. In fact, my case was that even though I had that minimum qualification, but I did not have work experience at all. And what seemed also to even transgress matters even worse was the criminal record, because as you would know, the research findings indicated that offenders who committed less violent crimes are more likely to find employment compared to offenders who committed more violent crimes. And mine was violent, a Schedule 6 case. So it was like kind of a difficult, to get rid of the criminal record. So one thing led to another. An opportunity arose in 2012 where I applied for to become a PA helper at the Directorate for Career Counselling and Academic Development. I was gladly welcomed by the likes of Lisa, Daisel, thank you so much. The likes of Mama Kanya, ever so grateful, Dr. Chipiwa Kodisang. Those are the people who mentored me in 2012. And then soon after that, 2013, and then I had to spread my wings, went to Maclinic Unisa Finance, where I was hired as a student worker, worked there for 2013. And in 2014, then I started my master's. I did my proposal, and then my first year was in 2015. And then in 2015, I qualified then to become a postgrad research assistant in the Department of Psychology for a 2-year contract that took place between 2015 and 2016. But then during that time, I completed my master's, remember, in 2016. So that also opened doors for me in terms of becoming a lecturer or qualifying as being a lecturer. True to that, one of the lecturers went on to other greener pastures, opening up a space for me. And then I became, I was absorbed into the department. That was between 2017 and 2018. And when that contract expired, went to the Institute for Open Distance and Learning, still at Unisa, where I did a brief stint there in 2019. But at the time, I was already doing my PhD, right? So also doing your PhD exposes you to other greener pastures as well. So in 2019, I was headhunted by the Minister of the Department of Correctional Services, and then I was appointed as a member of the Research Ethics Committee for the Department of Correctional Services. 2020 became a lecturer, and as I'm speaking to you now, 2024, I'm a senior tech lecturer. So briefly, let me tell you about what we do as lecturers in the Department of Psychology, so that you have a brief stint of the background work that we do. So there are 4 pillars that we are responsible for, or at least need to be responsible for. It goes beyond these pillars, all right, but I'm just giving you a basic of these 4 pillars. So the first one is teaching and learning. So obviously you are hired at Unisa as a lecturer. So the core of your the core responsibility is to.
And hello.
Apologies for that, Ms. Dr. Mdakane, you can continue.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. All right, thank you. So yeah, the first pillar, as I indicated, is teaching and learning. The second pillar is research, where we conduct research. Some of that research leads to publications, and I will show you shortly what am I referring to. But there's the third one, which is my most favorite. It is engaged scholarship. And what we do is our engaged scholarship engages with the Department of Correctional Services, where we conduct seminars, webinars, workshops. I'll show you in a bit some of the evidence that I have compiled for you and collated. And then the fourth pillar is academic citizenship, where you need to indicate in terms of your contribution. How do you contribute to Unisa? It could be internally, you are a member of internal committees, or perhaps just like myself, you're a member of internal as well as external members at a committee. For instance, in the College of Human Sciences, I serve in different committees, a school tuition committee, but also the College of Human Sciences Research Ethics Committee. So there's an alignment there, if you see, between the work that I do internally as well as externally. So my most favorite is Engaged Scholarship, what previously used to be known as community engagement. So community engagement, and this is a true story, by the way. When I came to Unisa in 2013, knocked at one of my supervisor's offices, because he knew me from undergrad, and during when I was still doing my honors, and then one conversation led to another, and by the end of the year in 2013, we had established what is now known as the Inside Out, Outside In South African Corrections Interest Group. This is an engaged scholarship project in the Department of Psychology, where I am a co-founder of this community engagement group. This community engagement group is very hot, that we've been even identified by the National Research Foundation, NRF, as being one of the most effective community engagement in the entire school. Unisa. So there are various things that we do there, but top of the list is our book project, where we visit correctional centers and we donate books that have been supplied to us. Sometimes we go to the library, Maklunek campus. You know, it's we have one of the mega libraries at the Maklunek, and some of the books that are outdated are given to us, and then we then ensure that we donate those books to the various correctional centers. But also what we do in this community engagement project or scholarship engaged group is that we develop other scholars. You see, when I came in 2016, doing my master's, as you can see, the title of my master's was Defying the Odds of Recidivism, the narratives of criminal offenders, and the second one is my PhD title, How Much Punishment is Enough: The Criminal Record as a Death Sentence. So as I'm trying to indicate that there is some kind of a synergy. The work that we do speaks to each other. I was nurtured by Professor Fourie, who was my supervisor for my master's, but also my supervisor for my PhD. You can see his name right there, Fourie. Professor Fourie published the first article under the banner of the Inside Out. But I couldn't be left behind. As you can see, in 2019, I also joined the wagon and also published alongside my other colleagues. And as you can see there, in 2020, also alongside the likes of Professor Mahanu, who's very big at Unisa. She also created an opportunity for me when she was publishing this book and said to me, you know, Mbongiseni, you need to ensure that from your master's, you milk it and give me a chapter. And that's exactly what I did. From my master's, I wrote a book chapter entitled Reintegration into Society, Spelling Myths. And then, yeah, this is 2022 also, and 2022, reason why I sort of included this slide here, but is to show that when we published in this community engagement project, we also, it's true that we also look into Unisa student experiences. As you can see, the title of that article, the Incarcerated Students' Experiences of Unisa's Open Distance E-Learning at One Medium Correctional Center. So this is us giving back. As a student or an alumni of Unisa, I come not only with a professional experience in terms of being qualified, but I also bring that personal experience in terms of what incarcerated students go through. So this study was conducted at Bavian Sport Correctional Center. But one of the limitations of the study was that the study was conducted in a male-only correctional center, and it became a huge red flag for us, that we should also give attention to female incarcerated students, and you'll see shortly what I'm talking about. In 2024, right at the bottom there, you can see student support for incarcerated females in an open distance e-learning institution. This manuscript is under production and it is going to be published. I'm hoping and keeping my fingers crossed that by the end of the month it will be published. But also what we do is we attend conferences, the many conferences that we have attended since the group's inception in 2013 until to date 2024. But I just thought I should give you some indication of the conferences that we have attended. You can see many of them there. So those are local conferences. If I just go back, you can see at Pretoria and School of Social Sciences. This was in at Unisa, and then SAISA at Unisa for 2015, 2016, and 2018. But these are all local conferences. But what we do is also travel. As you can see, the international conferences, global footprint of our work, the work that we do. So we touch hearts, we touch other people's lives. We go to Brazil, we go to the United Kingdom. In South Africa, I'll show you a picture of the 6th International Conference Community Psychology, which was held at Durban in 2016. We were also there. I'll show you a picture in a short while. Conferences in the United Kingdom, we're there. Ghana, you name it, we're there. So that's the work that we do, right? And then I just wanted to pick your brains in terms of what we have seen so far, or what I have shown you so far, coming from a person who was almost nullified to the peripheries of life, to what I have become. The question that I'm posing to you is, with what you have seen today, do you think that Unisa changes lives? It's a question that I'm posing to you. Do you think that it changes lives? Because what you see here in front of you are student volunteers. These were our third-year students who were volunteers in the Inside Out project. And the third on the row is Zanele Dlamini, who we are publishing with a student. She's now with the UP. University of Pretoria, but still engaging with us at the Inside Out project. Mama Kanya, you can see we've got Harold on the far left, Dr. Ngomane, and Lisa. There's also on my far right, there's also Dr. Gordon, Dr. Erolyn Gordon. This is our books project. As you can see, there's evidence there of the books that we donate at the various correctional centers and the work that we do. When I say that it changes lives, Mama Kanya, you are there on the picture. I hope you can see yourself. I picked this one especially for you. If you remember, we were celebrating Mandela's 100th something at the Kosi Mampuru Correctional Center, at the Female Correctional Center, and you can see our female offenders there at the back, and we also have Bob Makanya joining us as well. And these are some of the snippets there of the work that we do. Here we were at the Jose Mampuru for the gender-based violence workshop. We have I'm standing right there at the back, and also the likes of Professor Mahlokhonolo, Tobane, and then we have got attendees there on my right-hand side picture. And this is me in 2016 on the left-hand side with Professor Edward Fori, who supervised me for my master's degree, and they also went on to supervise me for my PhD degree. And then on my right is evidence of me standing next to the school director, Professor Mabandu Motsusi, during my graduation in 2022. And then, so my as I conclude, my challenge to you then would be to plan towards developing or the sustainable development goals. And this is what I have done. I've indicated a niche area for myself, and then I'm working towards that niche area. And as evidence, I've indicated to you that if we have been recognized by the NRF for the work that we do, it means that the substance in the work that we do. Further evidence of the work that we do. Again, I'm also, grateful that as you study, as you're developing yourself as an imaging scholar, you happen to read about people who are in the field. And if you can see there on the left-hand side picture, that is Ruth Hopkins there. She's quite big in the corrections fraternity. And I'm sitting next to Dr. Dres Basinger, who is our international partner from the INN, International Nations Network. And then on my right-hand side is evidence of some of the seminars that we usually conduct at Unisa. I think this was in 2018. And then this was the ICCP conference that I was telling you about. I'm sitting next to my professor on the left-hand side picture, and we are attending a conference, the ICC conference. And then on the right-hand side picture, for those who do not know the two ladies there, we have Professor Pauline Sikhalo as Professor Peace Kigua from the Wits University, who were also part of the delegates during the conference. So as I conclude, I wish to also encourage you to go to our website as the Inside Out. You will see this is evidence of the reports that we normally upload when we visit correctional centers. At the top right corner there, it's myself alongside Professor Cindy Ngubane, and at the bottom, I was at the Mthonjeni Youth Center recently just to give some form of motivation and inspiration to the young boys. But the reason, as I conclude, colleagues, the reason why I decided to take a screenshot of the picture above, I'm not quite sure whether you can see the image above, but I'm standing next to a gentleman there. His name is Mr. Keith Scott. I met Mr. Keith Scott in 2019 when he first applied for his proposal. Mr. Keith Scott applied for his proposal at the Durban Westville Correctional Center, where he was also incarcerated. I supervised Mr. Keith Scott for his master's degree alongside Professor Edward Fourie. And the reason I am bringing this to your attention is just to show you, ladies and gentlemen, that truly when we speak about Unisa changing lives, we're speaking about exactly this evidence. Keith has been able to defy many odds, starting with his age, because he's around 60-something years old. So if you are 60-something years old, chances of you finding employment are quite slim, hey? And I think you will agree with me. But Keith has defied those odds because he is employed in the Department of Psychology as a postgrad research student, just like myself back in the day. And with his criminal record, he was able to find employment. Not only does he have these challenges of age as well as a criminal record, but as you can see there closely, you will see that Keith Scott, or Mr. Keith Scott, is living with a disability, but he did not let his disability deter him. I'm not quite sure whether Keith Scott would be an inspiration. I truly am not an inspiration, but I'm hoping that Mr. Keith Scott will truly inspire you. The age, together with him living with a disability, together with a criminal record. If he made it, I'm hoping that you too can also make it. We've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and patience. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mdakane, for the inspirational and I think very informative presentation. I think we had problems earlier on with our two presenters. I will call back Ms. Ngobile Masuku to introduce Mr. Sakhiwo Dubazana for us.
Greetings to all the guests, colleagues, and students. My name is Ngobile Masuku. I am an admin intern. I'm here to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Sakhiwo Dubazana. He was born in Melmort on 28 June 1986 and completed matric on 2003 at Simobile High School in Melmort. Joined the South African Police Service in the year 2007 and currently holds the rank of sergeant with an overall experience of 17 years in the service. He enrolled with the University of South Africa for an LLB degree in 2018 in order to broaden the knowledge of the law and incorporate it in the police service duties as police official. A qualification he completed in 2023. He is a good communicator with the ability to motivate and encourage his colleagues. He is dedicated and passionate about public service. Acquired good leadership skills and further skills in conflict resolution over the years in the service, and has obtained vast knowledge in the operational management. His current ambition is to enroll for the master's program with the Unisa. The floor is yours, Mr. Dubazana.
Thank you and greetings to everybody. I finished my matric on 2003, but during my high school days, it had always been my plan or my vision to become a legal practitioner. That's what I had in mind, that when I finish matric, then I would go to varsity and study and become a legal practitioner. But you know, when you have plans and then life comes with its own challenges. So I looked for a job after finishing matric, and then I got a driver's license, and then I went and applied to the police, and I was lucky. I got accepted, and I went for basic training in 2007, and then I came back on 2007 on June, and then I started the full training. Then I finished my training on 2009. So after that, and then I did that job, fell in love with that job. I didn't think of maybe studying. So my dreams of becoming a legal practitioner sort of took a back seat. And then on 2015, because I was working at ORS Durban at that time, and then I transferred to a unit in Panyawood. So I joined that unit, and then that's when I decided, no, I had a dream to become a legal practitioner and do a LLB. So that's when I started my first year in 2018. So my experience in 2018 studying LLB or studying for the first time, for me it was a good experience because in my unit there were people that were already studying with the Unisa. So if I had problems, especially with my Unisa, going on to my Unisa, they were there to assist me. I also had a cousin who was also doing LLB, who was based in Joburg, who was also a police official. So it was a good experience, and I was always motivated and determined. So my first year was very good. There were no challenges except for traveling, because during the time when I started, I had a car accident. So my car was beyond repair. So the distance from Melmort to the exam center, it took me maybe from home to R66, maybe 45 minutes, and then another 30 minutes to a show where the exam center was. But because I had a vision, it wasn't much of a problem to travel, and especially because I didn't go there every day. Maybe I had, because I would register maybe for 5 modules, and 2 of those modules were portfolios. So portfolios are my favorite because I get to write and express myself. So from there, I did the second day also. There were no challenges. It was a good experience. And then 2020, COVID-19 came, and then the venue-based exam were suspended. So then we were introduced to the online exam. So I was happy with the online exam because I was excited because I knew that no, I don't have to travel. If the exam starts at 9 o'clock, I will wake up, brush my teeth, and then sit on the couch and then start the exam. But that is where I experienced lots of challenges. The network from the village where I'm staying, the network is not good. And the other thing that I did, I would type because I didn't know how else. If I wrote on an answer sheet, how am I going to scan and upload? So I decided to type, but now my typing skills were not that good because I was very slow. I was very slow, but I because luckily for me at work, when I came to the unit at Ukanyabu, I didn't know anything about typing, and then because when you work, you have to submit reports. Like in a month, you have to submit 8 reports per member. So you find that you have your own 4 reports that you need to be assisted with in terms of typing, and then you are the 3rd person or the 4th, and then there are other people who are also waiting for their reports to be typed. So then that's why I decided, no, let me just type myself, because you find that your report will only be submitted, it will be finished maybe 2 days later, and then it will be submitted on another day, and the important information on that report reach head office later, and then it's going to be like you didn't do your job. So I decided that was the reason I decided to type for myself. And then I said, no, if I can type at work, maybe during the exam, I can also type. But now the problem with typing during the exam is that you get a paper with a certain hours that you have to finish the paper within those hours. So my problem with that was that I would type the answers. You read the question, you type the answers. I'm also looking at the question paper on the laptop. So you type, and then you don't check the spelling because you don't fix the spelling. So when I finish writing the exam, and then I would start now fixing the spelling, doing the correction, only to find that on its own took a lot of my time. And as a result, there were papers that I could not submit on time, and I was noted as absent from exam because I was late in terms of submitting the answer, uploading the answer. So that was a challenge for me. But how I overcame that challenge, I decided that no, let me not just answer on that. Let me not type when I'm answering, because it's clear that I won't finish on time because of the spelling errors, and I'm trying to fix the spelling errors. So what I did, I would whenever I have to write an exam, I would go to the office, lock myself in my office, and then download the question paper, and then answer the answers on the answer sheet, and then scan them, send them to my phone, and then submit them. So it became much easier because you find that when I finished the exam, I would be left with maybe 30 minutes to spare. So it became a simple method to write the exam that way, and that's how I overcame that challenge. There were personal challenges because when you're studying, you're a human being, you have personal challenges. At home, you have challenges. In your personal life, you have challenges. And unfortunately, there is nothing you can do to avoid those challenges as a human being. The only thing that helped me through those challenges was the fact that I wanted my degree, and I wanted to complete the degree. There were people I knew, many people that did the LLB degree at work and in Durban, where I used to work, and then along the way they just gave up. There were times where it became hard, exhausting mentally. But no, I'm tired now. Maybe let me just relax the whole year and then see next year. But then I thought, if I give up now, then maybe next year I will also give up, and then I'll never finish this. Because I started this thing, I must just see it through and finish it. So even though the challenges were there, I did what I wanted to do, because at the end of the day, it is what I wanted, and the challenges will always be there, and there is nothing I can do to prevent them from being a part of my life. So with studying for an LLB, overall, it was a very good experience, very informative, especially with me being a police official. You know, when you go to college, they teach you the theory and the practical side of the job. But then, in terms of the law, you only know the law that you will need to know as a police official. But there's a lot of things that you learn when you are studying. So whether you are studying for law, whether you are studying for something else, whether you want to be a social worker, you only know what you know because of what people are telling you. But when you are studying, you start to get and grasp different kinds of knowledge that will assist you. So to me, my degree assisted me a lot in terms of my job, in terms of, because there are things, especially with politics and the ever-changing system. No, it became useful, because the reason why I wanted to study the LLB degree was that I wanted to be a legal practitioner, but I already love and enjoy being a police official. But then I didn't want to do policing because there were so many of us that were doing policing, and I wanted to understand and know the law. So I decided to do LLB, and then it helped me a lot at work, and it's still helping me a lot. With work, you know, when you are studying and you are working, because I was fortunate to get a job at a young age and work, and then decide later to study. The only mistake that I did that I regret was not studying as soon as I came out from the college, because I would have been where I hope to be maybe in the next 5 years. But you know, when you are working and you are young, you are enjoying the job, you tend to forget the priorities, and you tend to put your dreams on hold, especially when you don't have someone who will tell you that you must start. So that's what happened with me until I decided that no, I had always wanted to be a legal practitioner. But then, when I finished my LLB, when I completed it last year, I thought, no, let me not try and apply for articles. Let me just try and do the masters, which is what I'm hoping for. Then, when I complete my masters, I will see if I can still go on and do more, because with studying, you know, you study and you give up, and then 10 years later, and then you decide that no, I studied this and then I left it in the making, so now I want to finish it. So I don't want to be studying when I'm old, because I want to relax, because the work that I do is exhausting. Even though I cannot get into details what exactly that I do in that unit, but it's exhausting because you have to submit reports every day. You have to be there. You have to be there. Sometimes you don't know whether you are a police official or a politician. You are attending events. There are protest march. You need to be there with people there pretending to be a marcher just to get that information that you want to get, and then submit a report. So it's exhausting. You are on leave. You have to work. So with studying while you are working, it's very difficult. It's very challenging. There were times where I have to complete an assignment and submit it, but you find that I have to work at night because we had operations at night. So I have to work, and then the next morning I must sleep for certain hours, and then try and do my assignment so that I can submit it in time. The next morning I still have to go to work again, and then I don't have time to finish my assignment. I can't take my work, my assignment to work and do my work, because no one will understand that no, I have to finish this assignment. To make your own time when studying. You are lucky if you are working where you are able to get time to study. So things just pile up. The challenges that in your personal life, the challenges at work, and you have to also focus and try and do your best to finish the exam. It was very difficult. Like I said, the challenges. There were times where I couldn't submit. I couldn't write exam, and I was not as absent from the exam because I came back late and I was exhausted. And remember, there were many of us that were studying so in my unit. So when you submit your study leave, it becomes a problem, because now when your boss tells you that if you go now, then it means no one will be left in the office, or no, you should have submitted it earlier. Now you cannot go, because almost 90% of the office is gone as well on study leave. So it was challenging. There were times where I didn't go on study leave. I had to work and then come back and study for the exams, and do that often. But with what I can say about studying with Unisa, it wasn't that difficult of a journey, especially with the online exam. It was difficult in the beginning, because I had to type and then later change and decided to write the answers like in the like venue-based exam. And the other thing that helped me was the clarity that was provided by the I would say the coordinators or the lecturers that were responsible for that particular module. Like there were times where I had a portfolio exam. It was sort of an open book exam. I wrote that exam. When I read the question paper, it said open book. So I just did that. I answered the question and as an open book, and then I failed the exam. I didn't understand how I failed, because that thing said open book. So I opened the book and answered the exam. But you find that with the open book exam, you get a question where the answer is 20 marks. When you go to the book, you find that the information that is there on the book is worth 5 marks. So now, how do you take that information and turn it into a 20-mark answer? That's the problem that I did not understand, because you don't give yourself time. You rush. You want to finish on time. You want to do away and say, no, I've done this module. It's done now. But then, as time went on, then the lecturers, they gave response to the answers. Then that's when I realized that the portfolios and the open book, you need to apply the knowledge that you have. That's what they wanted. You apply the knowledge to the question and show that you answer a question, pretend as if you don't answer the question like the person that is asking the question, or the person that will be marking knows the answer. So I'm giving them the answer because they know the answer. No, you pretend as if that person that will be marking doesn't know the answer. So you just tell yourself that you are answering a person who doesn't know. So when someone comes to you and asks you about what you've learned, you cannot just give them one sentence of an answer. You give them a satisfactory answer so that they would understand. So studying at Unisa, it was a good experience. I did enjoy studying in spite of the challenges that I had and at work. You know, studying made me stronger because you know, when you don't go for study leave and you have to write exam, you know, you become proud of yourself that you know you did what you wanted to do in spite of the challenges. It never broke you. And you are able to do the job if you are studying while you are employed, and you are able to make time to study. You are able to make time to finish your assignment and submit them on time. But if I was studying and finished my LLB degree and I did not get it, and I wasn't employed at the time, I would have tried to apply for articles while I'm still pursuing my master's. But since I'm currently employed, that's my only goal for now to apply for a master's program. And if I complete that master's program, I'll still go further and then go for a doctorate program if I still have the energy and that time. That's my dream to reach that far in terms of my law studies, because I have started now. So I don't want to give myself a gap and relax, because, you know, like I said, I don't want to start when I'm old, because the job that I'm doing is stressful. So it's really challenging when you are studying while you are working. But like I said, overall, my journey as a Unisa student, it was a very interesting journey with ups and downs. But at the end, you know, when you have a vision, you need to see through. You need to make sure that you reach your goal. There are people. My challenge is there are maybe soft challenges compared to others. You know, there are people with challenges. Like there are females that are studying and you find that they have 2 or 3 children that they need to take care of. Some are married, they need to be wives at home. Others, they study, they are pregnant, they have young children they need to look after. But they do finish. So it's all about the focus and the vision. That when you start something, you need to finish it. And when you tell yourself that you want to do something, you need to finish. There was a question that was asked by the doctor that was speaking before. How Unisa change a person's life. It did change my life in that like I became a more stronger person mentally than I was before, because like I said, there were things that I was facing, challenges that were coming my way, but I had to do and finish what I said I was going to do. So it became, when I completed my degree last year, it was very, very peculiar for me, because like there were times when I would do and look at the years, and then see like it was difficult for me to picture myself with a degree on my hands. But then I kept on pushing, and then I managed to complete my degree, and then it sort of came with a sense of pride to myself that I said I was going to do something, and I was able to do it and finish it. So my advice to all the current students and whatever it is that each person is studying, you don't give up. Problems will be there. They will never go away. You will sort this problem out, another problem will come. You will sort another problem, another will come again. But you need to focus and tell yourself that as a human being, when you said you're going to do something, you need to see it through, you need to do it, whatever challenges, as long as you are mentally okay, you are right, it's beyond, it's not beyond your reach. Still have the energy to go through, and the mind still wants to go through. You need to focus. You need to keep on doing it, because you don't want to sit and say 5 years late. Like I say, if I had studied when I finished the basic training, I would have been where I want to be. But now it's going to take me long to get to where I am, where I want to be, because I wasted time when I came back from college. So that is my advice. And the other thing is that you panic when you are studying. You are alone. You don't have groups to study with. Like myself, I was in Melmot. So like I was studying by myself, and the person that you know is studying something else. So you don't have people that you talk to, except those over the phone. So it becomes difficult, and then there will be people that will say, no, you are studying this. I know how I can help you. Maybe give you some tutorials so that you can be sharp and be ready for the exam. Yeah, you accept help, but then there are people to take advantage of people, especially the females. I'm not going to get into those kinds of advantages, but you need to surround yourself with trustworthy people. Do not be vulnerable to people. People will come and stop money from you just because they say they know a particular module and they excel during their varsity days or want something else. So you need to surround yourself with people that are trustworthy, the people that we want you to see you do well. And lastly, you don't listen to people that say, Unisa graduates, they don't get employed, they don't get recognition. You will not get recognition if you've been studying all these years and you don't know what you were studying. If you were taking shortcuts, if you were, instead of writing the exams. We were treating the exams like an open book exams, even the exams that were not portfolio exams or open book exam. Every exam we wanted a shortcut because you want that distinction on your result. You are setting yourself up because when you get a job, they will interview you and they will ask you about certain things where you've got distinction and you find that you don't know. So then it raises a question, how come you got the distinction but you don't know? So you need people, they do things and then they talk. And then you find, don't like, you need to be proud. If it's a student from another university and you study the same thing, you need to be proud to be standing next to that person and say, I also have a degree, a same degree as yours. So I know what you know. But don't feel ashamed or don't listen to people that say, no, Unisa graduates. Are not the same as other graduates. If you and you do what you did, then you learn. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Dubazana. We really appreciate the motivation that you give into our students, and I still believe that they're still taking notes. And without wasting more time, I think our students understand that we had a technical glitch earlier on. Then we will go back to Ms. Beauty Maloba to introduce Captain Masego Ngema. Ms. Maloba, over to you. Okay, before Ms. Maloba comes in, I think I have to advise students that Ms. Maloba and Ms. Captain Masego will actually connect in a different way, because I think she will come up on Ms. Hazel or Mrs. Makanya's speaker, because she's still struggling. So we used other method to make sure that we still be able to connect with her and she will be able to motivate you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ms. Maloba.
To all our guests, colleagues, and students, home greetings once again. My name is Beauty Maloba. I'm one of the trainee career guidance practitioner here at Unisa, and I'll be introducing one of our guest speakers, Ms. Masego Ngema. She is a passionate female aviator with extensive knowledge in civil aviation, specialized in aviation management and operations, including aviation safety management systems, coming with a formal military aviation background in airspace management, formal military in air traffic control. She's a leader and a motivator to the youth striving to take aviation awareness to the next level in our communities. A disciplined aviation safety ambassador who constantly seeks excellence in promoting air safety and applying the regulation in the environment in which we operate. A double BCom degree holder with an honors degree specializing in transport economics, who is a leader to adapt to changing conditions, plan and carrying out programs and work in a high pressure or a fast-paced environment. She's an officially licensed pilot with the SACAA. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Masego Ngema.
Good morning to all the students, to all the colleagues in the seminar. Very good day to you. Okay, my name is Masego Ngema. Can you just turn the slide to the first page, please?
It is on the first page.
Next slide. So as I said, my name is Masego, but I'm affectionately known as Captain Masti. I got this name when I was still in high school because I think that's when I discovered my passion for flying. And it was during, I think, around 2003 where I got to participate in high school camps, where I got chosen by my school to go represent the science and math students that passed very well in their grades. So that's where my aviation knowledge got explored. I am a passionate female pilot, which is also known as an aviator or aviatrix, with extensive knowledge in the following. I do have qualifications in aviation management and operation, aviation safety management systems, airspace management and military aviation, and my aviation career awareness and development, where we go into communities. If I'm not flying, we go into schools, just, making awareness to the students of how aviation works, because this is an industry that has been, there's a lot of blockages amongst our people. And I say our people because there's no knowledge in such communities. So I qualified with Unisa. I did my BCom Transport Economics, my BCom Honors Transport. And the reason I chose the qualification was because it was highly related to what I was doing already as an aviator, because it's transport studies. And in the qualification itself, you find that there are airline or flying subjects that are within the courses that I did with Unisa. I do have other diplomas with aviation safety management systems that I got in 2019. With IATA, which is the only body in the whole world that gives specialized courses to the aviation industry. And those are some of the following qualifications that I have as well. So apart from being an aviator, I'm also involved, you can say, in farming, but as a hobby really. And I found that I'm highly attracted to beekeeping. We call it an apiary. So reason why I was attracted to this, it's because when you study the bee or how the bee works, it actually works similar to how we do flying in aviation. You can picture a bee and an aircraft, they operate more or less with the same principles. So I am a registered beekeeper with DALAT, which is the Department of Agriculture, Land and Reform, Rural Development, and with SABIO, which is an association for all the beekeepers in South Africa. And one of the interesting facts is that, I found that she's a pilot and also a beekeeper at the same time. So just to give you a little bit of background what this thing is all about, it basically refers to flying. It's just that flying, using any type of aircraft, like an aeroplane, helicopter, glider, air balloon, or even drones. And we are entering into a period where we're looking into futuristic flying, where things are still at research level, where we will get into what we call urban flying. So some of the examples of the careers in aviation would include aeronautical engineer. You've got aircraft maintenance engineers. We've got air traffic controllers, which is where I began my journey. There are aviation doctors, which does our medical examinations. Like as a pilot, you cannot fly if you're not medically fit. And there are aviation lawyers, aviation safety specialists, there are airline specialists, airport management, and you can own a business as an aviation person, owning your own charter, where you have your own flight, or you can open up a flight school where you train other people. And also recreational flying is where you do it really as a hobby, where you get people that does aerobatic flying. You see them during air shows, they perform and just entertain people through their hobby. So the next slide, we see there are different types of pilots within the industry, but people that are working for, let's say, the military, they do military flight training, they fly military aircraft, and the operation is different to the civilian flying, because with the military, there's a use, it's like combat flying. You're flying for a mission, you are flying for search and rescue, you are flying when there's war, different flying. And then you do have meteorologists who will highly rely upon, especially with weather information. Like I cannot take my aircraft and just go and fly. I need to study my weather the day before or check how the weather is changing before I take the machine into the sky. And you also have radartricians. Those are people that works with the radar machines that has all the traffic information sitting on their screens in the air traffic controlling centers. So my journey really began, like when I was in high school, I knew what I wanted to be. And the first thing, the route that I wanted to take was military. Because I was introduced into that environment when I was in high school. We had people from, the military come and tell us about what aviation is all about. And I thought this would be a nicer way for me, because flying can be expensive if you do it on your own. It's really, really expensive. So I joined the Air Force in 2006, and I was trained as an air traffic controller. An air traffic controller are those people that sit in tower and pass on to the pilot. We're in constant communication with them, where they give us traffic information, where they keep us separated in the air, that there be no collisions in the way, and just keeping us safe on the ground as well. And yeah, I did that in the Air Force for I think 2-3 years. And my first career choice was to be a military pilot. That's what I said. And the selection requirements are very strict within the Air Force. Like, you go through psychometric tests, you go through measurement tests, you go through medical tests. It's a very thorough and strict selection process. So we all trained to be soldiers when you're in the Air Force. Like your first 6 months, everybody is treated the same. You are new into this thing. You're trained as pilots. You run around. You get to the shooting range. They teach you all about military lifestyle. When you qualify for that, that's when we go to a different. We call them mastering professions. Some will go to navigation. Some will go to mechanics. Some will become cabin crew. Some will do even cooking or chef. It's different paths that we go through. So I completed the MSDS, the command and control, and the command and control assistance within the Air Force. And I worked in the crew, we call it a Bushville Airspace Control Center. So some of the duties that I did was like flight planning operations, the printing and completing of ride strips, updating your meter aviation, and issue clearances to pilots. And when I had to go and search for a job, it really wasn't a hassle for me because I was coming from the military. There was a group of us that were chosen to go and assist at Air Traffic and Navigation Services, which is an organization and the only sole service provider of air traffic navigation services. So I was amongst the group of people that were taken from the Air Force who transitioned to go and operate and work within the civilian, we call it civil sector. So yeah, the transition wasn't that difficult for me because we were chosen as we were like best ATCs. And yeah, we worked at the academy and we worked at the Central Airspace Management Unit. And most of the job we did was during the 2010 World Cup because there was a lot of flight traffics coming in. You can imagine the amount of flights that were coming in the country. So that's where we worked a lot in our company. So when you are in a work environment, you also have some perceptions about the workplace in which you're operating in. So work is a place we just go. You mustn't define work as a place you just go and earn money for a living. A workplace should allow you a space for personal and professional growth, improvement and academic advancement, application of knowledge and skills. Find an industry you love, not just a job. So I'm going to focus a little bit on becoming a Unisa student. The reason why I went to register for a course is that I wanted something challenging. It really also started as a joke. You know, you're surfing on the line and searching what course you can do. And I found this transport economics because many of the courses that are at Unisa, not that they're not related, but the only really thing that was close to what I was doing, flying or being in the transport industry, was to take something related to transportation. And I found the course was very enjoyable. It wasn't too challenging because it's things I was flowing in learning. So I enrolled at Unisa in 2010 to further my studies for personal and professional growth. And like I said, Unisa had the perfect degree for that, because I also checked with some of your universities like the VETS and Pretoria University, and most of the courses that were like transport management or aviation management were courses that were phased out at that time. So I chose Unisa. And I did that degree in transport economics in the EMS faculty. Yeah, and the rest is history. And I also continue, not only after graduating, I didn't stop there. I also pursued to study the BCom honors in the same qualification. So some of the challenges that I was faced with, it was exciting getting into, the learning environment or starting my academic journey. At the same time, I had a feeling of being unsure of how I would manage my studies, because I'm a mother, I'm a wife, there's so many responsibilities. On the other hand, you're flying, like how do you balance? How do you find a balance between those activities in your life? So the challenge that I had at Unisa, I will not lie, is accounting studies. Because in high school, remember, I come from a background where I did your mathematics, your physical science subjects. So yeah, I found it a bit challenging for me. But then what I did for level 1, we used to go to, I was a private tutor, one professor from, I think he was from Talks, Professor Liebenberg. Every Saturday, every like once or twice during the week in the evenings, he would give like classes, tutorial classes, and I attended that privately, obviously. And he also helped us with management accounting. So for my level 1 and level 2, that's how I managed to pass those subjects, because I never had background in them. And yeah, I also found a study buddy. I had a friend in the military as well. We were doing the same course. Funny enough, we were on the same level. And then how we selected our subject, did it the same, so that we could do the same subjects at the same time, helping one another. So yeah, he worked this journey with me, but I graduated before her because she also was held back because of personal reasons. We held each other accountable till graduation. Even to this day, I know that we both want to do our master's degree in transport economics, because we set our goals that we would love to have a PhD in that qualification. So the values that I learned from Unisa, or the attributes, are the same as of that a pilot should possess. If you want to be an excellent Unisa student, you should have self-discipline. You need to stay focused and committed to your studies, and also know how to manage your time. Don't get disrupted by social media, or because you can get lost into those things. Set yourself time to study and on how to achieve your goals. Have a plan on how you do your assignments, and yeah, it's doable. And you also need to have the ability to work under pressure, and also teamwork. I don't know if they're still having those physical discussion classes, or where you team up with people whom you are doing the same course with, where you can study together or meet up together at the campus. But I did a lot of that, and it really helped me in my journey. And you also need to have communication and listening skills, and also leadership skills. So, one of the things that I had a challenge with, I think it held me back with the semester. It was during my final year. I think I was left with 4 modules. And it happened that during those time I was busy with the exams, I unfortunately lost my mother, whom I was very close with, because she's been a pillar during my career journey. As you know, attending those classes on weekend classes and evening classes, I would have to come by my home, by my house, to come and assist me with the kids, she played a really big role. Now, when I was in my final year, and then I just lost somebody who was very close and supported in my studies. It really broke me, but it never made me to lose hope. I managed to only write 3 subjects. So the other one I had I wrote 3 subjects, and the other one I had to fall on the other semester. So I would have graduated like prior to the time that I targeted myself. But in any case, I finished that subject and I continued. So such things do happen. You lose your loved ones, challenges come, like my other colleague was saying. But what do you do in that situation? Do you just beat yourself and give up? Or you just pull up yourself and move on, you know? So yeah, one message that I would have for you really is that you have started what you have started, and you are at this point because you've started this journey and you've come this far. Therefore, it is your responsibility to cross this finish line. Some of you are on your final year, some of you are on your second year, some of you have just started. I would just want to encourage you to keep pushing and tell yourself that no matter what comes your way, you will complete, and you will complete well with your qualification. And there's nothing that beats that day when you're at the MK Matthew hall and they're calling up your name and you're walking on the stairs on the stage and you are being honored or deferred with a degree. It's a very nice feeling. You feel gratified. There's a lot of satisfaction and gratification that comes with completing your studies. So yeah, all the best with your studies, and you must never ever give up on your dreams. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Captain Masego. I think we need to move on. Lisa, can you please advise if we need to take question and answers? Or Smart and Mobile, I think you need to post evaluation form for the student, but I think this is the right question, the right time for Q&A. If we can go back to the Q&A, colleagues, if you can assist. We still have Dr. Mdakane, Mr. Mothudi, Mr. Muelase, and we also have Captain Masego. Ms. Maslambi and Ms. Daisel, can you please assist with Q&A?
Thank you, Tumelo. There were some questions from our audience. So also just a thank you to Mr. Dubazana for providing insights into the experiences of a Unisa student. The perspective has prompted me to reflect on my journey, and I've realized it has been challenging. So thank you for that comment. Then there was, Kanisile, is a question for Mr. Dubazana. Could you maybe share how you broke down your time while you were working and completing your undergrad? How did you set up your time when you got back from work and set time to complete your work and your assignments? Mr. Dubazana?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. What I did each time or each semester when I registered and got all my tutorial letters, is the method that I did for myself. I would check with the assignment. I would check according to I would list them according to the due dates. The closest ones, then I would start with those ones and finish. Once I'm done with this one, and then I'll do the next one until I finish. Now, in terms of allocating time to myself, and because I was working, mostly I would do my assignment when on weekends, because I'm usually off on weekends when I'm not in standby. Because I couldn't do assignments at night. An hour staring at the paper or writing, answering. I would be feeling sleep and go to sleep. So the other thing that I did, I would apply for leave and just take my vacation leave and do my assignments and prepare for it. So like I said, there were times where I had to work at night. After 7, I go to work, and then you drive around because you are not based on a station. We are a unit that focuses on that district. So that district is too big, like the one that I'm currently working under. There are 11 stations. So the station that I'm responsible for in terms of supplying information is in Melmont. So Melmont is a big area. There are villages, and so you go there, you drive, or you go to Nkandla or to Ekombe area. You come back at maybe 1800 hours, and then you need to relax. Maybe 4 hours later, you need to go back to work again, and then you come back depending on what time, because when you're working at night, there is no time of nothing. It depends on the results of the job. So there were times where I couldn't sleep in the morning. I have to give myself that 2 hours and then finish my assignment. So it was a struggle. I cannot say exactly that I had this particular plan. I only saw that, okay, I need to give myself time tomorrow. I will take time tomorrow and do this. That's how I work, because if I would plan and say maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be doing this assignment, and then I would plan, then you find that when I'm planning, then something comes up and I must go to work. So every little time that I have, I would use it, because there is no rule that says you need to finish the assignment in one day. You give yourself and do this. Assignments are not long. So if you want to focus on question 1, you know that you give yourself time to focus on question 1, and then if it's a question like those assignment that tells you that the answer must be not more than so many words, you know that, okay, from this words to up to this words, you provide your answer. Then you relax. You don't overload yourself mentally with trying to push and finish your assignment, because you will write, and then you write something that is meaningless, and then you don't pass your assignment. Then it's a waste of time. So that's my answer.
Student can post. You can post your questions under Q&A. Ms. Lisa Dazel will assist together with Ms. Matlambi.
Okay. I'm seeing, just to continue from the previous question, Mr. Dubazana. Sinatemba was asking, are there any opportunities open at SAPS for law graduates? I'm a diploma in law graduate, currently enrolled for my LLB with Unisa.
Yes. You have to study and obtain your qualification, but it usually doesn't do much in terms of wanting to join the police, unless let's say maybe you did you have your qualification in finance, and then there is a post they are looking for a person with your certain qualification, and you qualify, and then you apply for that post, and you get that job, and then when you get that job, then you go to the college, maybe for that 3 months, just to learn that basics. Like, because mostly, you don't get that post if you want. Like, they don't advertise the post at the level of a certain. Maybe you get it as an officer, maybe from a captain upwards. So they then take you to the college where you learn the tradition of being a police officer. That they teach you that those police traditions, like saluting and saying to be an officer. That's how the qualification works. Other than that, you will have your qualification, and then when the recruitment is open, you apply, and if you are lucky, you go to the process of going to college for the. I think it's still a year now, because when I joined it was 6 months. You go there, and then you come back, you work as a constable, you wait your 13 years to become a sergeant, and then when you're a sergeant, you wait again another 11 years to become a warrant officer, and then if you are lucky, you get captain. But if you get employed and then go to basic training for the year and become a police officer, your qualification will help you if there is a post. Like I have my qualification now, but it's for me. It will only help me if there is a post, and then I apply, and then if I get the job, I get the job. If I don't get the job. It may happen that I apply with my LLB degree, and somebody else apply with their other qualification, or they don't have a qualification, they still have their matric, but they apply, and then they get the post that you have been applying for. There is nothing that anyone can do about that. You can write a grievance, you can do this and that, and become stressed about it. But what I can say is that studying puts you at a better chance that if you are lucky and then you get the job, then you know that you have qualification, you can still continue and study, and it's okay. But if you study now and then there's no post, you won't be able to apply. You will only be recruited when the recruitments are open, and then your qualification will only help you when there's a post in the police. It will help you if there's a post on Sunday Times or City Press. Then if you qualify, then it's a police post. It's on Sunday Times or on the internet. You can apply for that post, and maybe you will be lucky. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dubazana. We just have a question for Captain Ngema. I've got her on the line still. So, Captain Ngema, somebody was just asking the training for becoming an aviator, can this only be done through military route, or is there also other ways, for example, through a private school that offers the license?
Like I explained in my slide, that we have what we call civil aviation, and we've got military aviation, and I also explained that the trainings are more different because the operation is different. So if you don't want to go the military way, and I'll tell you advantages of going the military, you can also go the private way. And I've explained that doing it privately is very expensive. If you can afford, it's affordable, but it's also divided into phases. You don't just go to a flying school and then the next thing you have a job. You have to go through like many phases, like at university level. You start with your normal BCom degree, you then do your honors, and then you really don't have to get to become honest, or you try to extend or elevate your studies to your PhD level. It's more or less the same thing in flying as well. You've got your first level of flying where you are trained and you qualify, you become what we call a private pilot's license. You are licensed with what we call PPL. And working with your PPL, you can fly, but one of the regulations of becoming a PPL, you can fly passengers, but you're not getting compensated for that. So you are really working for building your hours. Because in flying, we work with flying hours. That's what you work and gives you experience. It separates you from somebody who doesn't have a lot of hours. It comes with experience. And then you move to what we call commercial pilots, which is more or less in flying. This is where now you also build a lot of hours. If you're preparing yourself into getting in the commercial, like companies where you fly for, like you operate, you fly, there are companies like Pick and Pay, they've got their own aircrafts, or like a business person has his own aircraft, and you can go that like you fly commercially like that. And if you decide to continue building your hours, doing your studies, writing exams, doing your PhD level type of flying, then you qualify to what we call an airline pilot. That's where you go and work for airlines. Your flights, you need a lot of hours. To do it can be very costly because just the basic hours you need at an airline, you need about 1,500 hours, of which you must have built within a number of years. So if you do it privately, it's doable, but sometimes it can take long and very costly for you. The nice thing about it is you do also get bursaries in the travel aviation. But once you have like a commercial license, you can approach companies like we call it TT, Transport Education and Training Authority. It is a subsidiary because it's the company that's under the Department of Transport. They give and issue out bursaries, not only for flying, but even if you want to go to university and do something that's transport related, they offer bursaries for you. The thing with bursary offerings is you need to fit those requirements. You must have had pure mathematics in high school. We do not take anyone who's done math. You're a pilot, you do calculations every single day. You calculate your fuels, your distance, your ranges. There's just calculations every single day when you fly. You need to check your mass and balance. That's why when we get into the airports, you need to take the measurements for your luggages and things so that our aircraft doesn't go in balance. So yeah, doing it privately is possible, but it is costly. But if you can afford, you go for it. And then doing it the military way, the nice thing about the military is the moment you get trained, the first join the Air Force, you are already employed. It gives you that job security. You sign a contract where you get trained as a soldier first, like I explained, and then when you go to their flying school, they also do it there, and their licenses are not the same as ours. With them, you just get a military flying license. And with a military flying license, you can then later on specialize whether you want to fly fixed wing aircraft, whether you want to fly helicopters or like our very own Major Mbongiseni, to fly the combat line where he flies fighter your grip and flight target. So it varies. Imagine doing that out of your own pocket. So the state is doing or paying that for you whilst you're in the Air Force. So training is expensive, but once you're in the military, it's done for you. And then when you finish with your training, you have to sign a contract where it's like you're giving back or paying back. You work for the military for 13 years. You become a pilot for them and fly for them for 13 years. After that, you can choose whether you go civil way. I know a lot of people that have been 13, 15 years in the defense force, and the advantage about that, once you apply, you are considered first because you've got extensive military training. So yeah, it's both ways. It works both ways.
Thank you very much, Captain. I'm going to hand over to our program director. He will just advise us in terms of time that we've got available for our program.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Daisel. I think our colleagues will post the evaluation form. I think there's only one question that was directed to Dr. Mdakane, of which I believe it's important, Lisa. One student actually requested if Dr. Mdakane can share his email with her or with him. Agnes, it's her. So I'm not too sure if Dr. Mdakane would like to respond to that, or Dr. Mdakane will respond privately to Agnes.
Thank you. Dr. Mdakane, maybe just give us, he posted his email address in the chat. Okay. We will share it with students. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think we actually come into the end of the program. I will now hand over to Dr. Hendricks, who is the head of Counselling and Career Development in KZN unit. Dr. Hendricks, over to you. Thank you so much, colleagues, for giving me the platform to be the program director for today. Over to you, Dr. Hendricks.
Thank you, Mr. Program Director. Good afternoon, colleagues, esteemed alumni and CCD team, as well as our students. On behalf of the Directorate Counselling and Career Development Unit at Unisa, I want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to every one of you who made today's Young Professional Seminar a success. To all our alumni, we are so deeply appreciative for your generosity of time that you've dedicated in preparing and delivering such informative, motivating and empowering sessions to our students. Thank you for inspiring our students and showing them that they can shatter that glass ceiling, that the sky is not the limit, and also the importance of pursuing their passions. Our alumni today, colleagues, shared some powerful, impactful career journeys. I'm sure it has left you feeling empowered and inspired and motivated. So I want to recap some of what was shared very briefly as I express my gratitude. So of the many addresses that were delivered here today, some of the things that stood out in my mind, for example, from our first speaker, Mr. Mothudi, delivered a very powerful and inspirational address. He focused on shifting from a traditional career paradigm to adopting a paradigm of identity and inertia and envisioning a future of how you're going to get there. He also spoke to you about failure and being part of that failure was part of the learning process, and also about the importance of not ignoring it, but embracing it. He highlighted that you need to strive for excellence. You need to be cognizant of the relationship management that's a pivotal part of your career journey. And as you heard, his journey was not a smooth one, but he persevered and he persisted to get where he is today. I'm sure I speak for all of them when I say listening to your career journeys and having you as role models inspires our students and empowers them, but also propels them to find their own purpose and meaning, in spite of the obstacles that they may face and the cards that they are dealt with in life. And an example that comes to mind is Dr. Mdakane, who shared his illustrious journey from behind the walls of a prison. He shared his knowledge about the several people who supported him along his journey to success. But I think, it was really his own tenacity and the belief he had in himself that propelled him to where he is today. And so students, as you heard today, not even incarceration can prevent you from becoming the person you envision becoming. His journey embodies Nelson Mandela's belief that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And that for me inspires hope. He defied all odds, and he demonstrated that anything is possible. And as he advised, and let's take note of what he advised, create your own journey and embark on it. Mr. Dubazana was our speaker after that, and his journey from the police force into becoming a legal practitioner was shared. He also shared very crucial information on exam management, which he felt had a negative impact on his performance. And we know many of our students are challenged with that as well. I know that you can identify with this. But he emphasized the importance of grabbing opportunities when they come to you and to study sooner rather than later. And also, again, the importance of persevering no matter what you are facing. Thank you so much for motivating our students. Our last speaker was Captain Masego Ngema, who wants us to call her Captain Marcy. Thank you so much for sharing a remarkable career journey with us. You know, from listening to you talk about how you earned your honors degree in transport economics to joining the military air force and then following your passions in aviation and then even beekeeping. I mean, your path is absolutely fascinating and inspiring. I think it's what an extraordinary and noteworthy trajectory you've had. Charting how you got to where you are is so valuable because it guides interested students who are also wanting to pursue this career pathway, to know how to go about getting to where you are. You emphasized self-discipline and managing your time, staying focused, working under pressure. The importance of leadership and communication and listening skills are all the valuable lessons that you learned while you were at Unisa. And, you know, the other thing that grabbed my eye was when you talked about your personal challenges and you emphasized never giving up. Let us all, colleagues, take a leaf out of her book. This day will not be done until I thank the very people who brought this program together for us today. To the Unisa staff, CCD, I would like to thank you all who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to organize this event. Firstly, Zuziwe Mshlani, the coordinator of the program, our colleagues from the DCCD Central Office, Ms. Lisa Diesel and Mrs. Hazel Makanya for collaborating and partnering with us, and of course our admin staff. A special thank you to all our admin interns and our very new TCGPs who did so very well today. You were so brave. DCCD is very proud of all of your contributions and efforts. You know, despite some of the technical issues that we've had, our staff's prompt attention and innovation to challenges ensured that everything ran smoothly, you know, from the logistics all the way to the technical support and so forth. Last but not least, a big thank you to our students for their enthusiastic participation and asking questions during the chat. Your eagerness to stay online for this long and listen to all of the inspiring speakers shows us that you want to learn and you want to grow. And this is the driving force behind our events. And that's why we host them and bring them to you. So we hope that today has been both enlightening, empowering, and motivating for every one of you. In closing, let us carry forward the knowledge and the inspiration that we gained here today as we continue to prepare for the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Thank you once again to our speakers, our alumni, the organizers, and all of you participants that made this event a resounding success.
Thank you, Dr. Hendricks, and thank you to everyone. Goodbye, colleagues and students.